Have you been finding that as you age, there have been things that are happening to you that you didn't realize were going to happen? This video is about the 10 things that I have found out that change as you get into midlife and as you age. The first one is I have found that I completely have redefined success. Success to me no longer looks like a big house. Not that I ever had that. So apparently, when I was younger, I didn't reach success. But it no longer looks like the fancy car, the big house and the fancy job. These things now seem way less important than they did when I was in my 20s, maybe even in my 30s. I've started to prioritize experiences and relationships and self-fulfillment over over material things. And I think that as you age, a lot of us do that. If we mature and we age, we get to see that relationships are more important than a big house, that um, self fulfillment is more important than a fancy car. I knew someone who prioritized vehicles. He was in his early 20s. His dream was probably mid 20s, but his dream was to have a Porsche 944. Of course, this was back in the 80s. So, but and also another goal of his was to be a millionaire. I've never had those goals to be that, but a lot of younger people do. But as you age, those things change and your life becomes richer because of it. Number two, something that I've been dealing with a lot lately is your body changes. Seemed like to me it happened overnight. But to be honest, if I think back about it, it didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual thing. But I've been experiencing, and as many of you may know, or maybe you don't know, maybe you haven't reached this stage, you'll you'll start to have random aches and pains that you don't understand why. It's just a random thing. You'll realize, and you'll see that your recovery time is much slower than it used to be. And I've been dealing, and I know a lot of people do, with hormonal shifts. And I got to tell you, these things are normal. I had to stop and put a sweatshirt on. I got a little chilly. Um, we were talking about body changes. So I've been dealing with random aches and pains. I've been dealing with slower recovery times. And I've been having some hormonal changes, the mood swings and things. And I'm just here to let you know all of this is normal, but it's something that nobody really talks about a lot. And we should be aware of it so we're not too surprised. However, I'm not sure we can't be surprised by it. I don't know. So, number three, another thing that I've realized is friendships evolve and they change. And the friends that you had when you were younger may not be the friends that you take with you as you age. Um, some friendships fade, but some friendships may get deeper and more meaningful. I find that as I've aged, I've gotten fewer friends, but the friendships are stronger. Number four, one thing that I really enjoy about getting older is I've started to care less about what other people think. I don't give a crap anymore. Um, I don't need you to validate who I am. And when you come to that realization, it's freeing. it's a really good feeling to understand that I don't need somebody else to validate who I am. And this is one of the stages of getting older, I believe. Number five, um, we feel invisible as we age. People don't take our advice. They don't. I don't want to say they don't seem to see us, but when you were younger, you were the center of your children's world. You were the one that held things together. Now they're in that position, and you are kind of in the background, and you feel invisible. But that's not always a bad thing. You need to embrace that as a good thing. Now that you, and I'm not going to say you're invisible, but now that you don't have those responsibilities, you are free to do and be what you want to do. And you have no pressure on you to perform. So that's a good thing. Number six, and this is something else I've been dealing with. Your brain may feel foggy and at times, and you'll have cognitive changes, memory blips, and sometimes trouble focusing. Um, you can often manage these with proper care, as in more sleep, exercise, and just being mindful of what's going on. It's frustrating. My husband and I joke about it all the time. I'll set my water bottle down. I don't remember where I set it down. So it's kind of a struggle, but again, it's manageable if you are mindful of it. Number seven, you will experience unexpected grief. And I'm not talking about just the loss of a loved one or a pet or something like that. The unexpected grief of mourning the parts of yourself that are now gone, the dreams and the past versions of yourself and of your life. You'll find that when you reflect back, you will mourn those. There are times when I look in the mirror and I think, well, for 58, I don't look bad, but I mourn the woman that was, the woman with the dark hair, and the woman with the hopes and the dreams that were different than they are now. Um, I miss past versions of my life, as we all do, I'm sure. But then I have to remember that now is good as well, and I need to stay in the moment. So we need to try to stay in the moment and celebrate who we are now. Number eight, another thing that's changed for me is I have found that joy can be simpler. Small pleasures now are what's important to me. Slow mornings, a cup of coffee, doing my craft or a hobby that I enjoy, talking to a friend on the phone. Every morning, I talk to my daughter on the phone, and I have a friend that I talk to. These things have become the highlight of my days more than things from the past. So joys are simpler. We've become a little more simpler in our lives. Number nine, your career. It's still possible in your career to pivot and do other things. Um, You can find new passions and reinvent yourself during this time. I've done that several times, reinvent myself and pivot to do other things. I find right now that my happiness is more important than the job. But having said that, I still have bills to pay, so I have to have a job that brings in decent money. There's that. But your career pivots are still a viable possibility for you. Um, and you can find new passions and reinvent yourself at this time. Number 10, not last but not least, and again, these are not all inclusive. There's other things I'm sure that I'll come across that that happens as we age and people don't really talk about. And it's you'll see the world differently. I can look back and think about who I was in my 20s and 30s, and I know how I saw the world. But my perspective has changed greatly as I've aged. The things that I once took for granted, the things that I thought would go on forever, would never change. Um, they changed, and I realize that now. So I tend to appreciate things more than I did when I was younger. I now see change as a challenge and opportunity to grow in myself, to grow in my life. So seeing the world differently is not a bad thing. And it's strange, when you talk to younger people and you try to explain these things to them, they can know what you're saying is true, but they don't understand it fully. And they never understand it fully until they reach the age that we are now. Midlife and older age is definitely a mixture of joy and challenges. And can this can lead you to a stronger sense of yourself and of your purpose in life. I encourage you to do the things that you love, and I encourage you to be open to new things and understand that those aches and pains, whether we like them or not, are normal, and understand that the younger generation will not understand until they get to your age. The one that I talked about earlier, the number 6, when your brain changes and it's foggy. Sometimes you worry about, am I getting dementia? Am I getting Alzheimer's? What's going on? But to be honest with you, these things that I just talked about, they're all normal and they shouldn't be scary, but they can be. And I encourage you to not be hard on yourself, to love yourself, embrace yourself, and be a little more forgiving. I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for